Hi all, welcome to the channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. As I promised last week, I was going to do the Toyota Supra and I didn't do it. So I'm making good on that promise now. And I'm going to be doing the next 6 stages. And I am behind at the moment, I'm about 5 packs behind, which is stages 57 to 62, the Fanhome release build, the Fast and Furious Toyota Supra. So I can't even give you a valid reason why I haven't been doing that. I think it's mainly because of this stage here, issue 57. There is absolutely loads to do and it's a lot of pipe work. And I know this stage on its own is probably going to take me near on an hour. The rest of this, not so much, but this one, near on an hour. So I think today you're going to need to get a coffee, sit back, and I'm hoping I can entertain you in that time. If you do want to get this for yourself, I don't know if this is available. I've put a link in the video description. You do have the QR code there. But without further ado, let's do this marathon build. Let's get cracking. Okay, stage 57 is a bit of a marathon. So let's show you. This is the magazine and it's all about connecting pipes. All about connecting pipes. As you can see, it's telling you where every single pipe goes here. So these first 2 pages here going to be quite challenging, I think. And then we actually connect the battery up and then start creating the radiator. But it's all to do with the firewall. Now, this is what the firewall looks like. We haven't seen this for some time. So obviously, not only have we got, let me just move this out of the way. Not only have we got all of the connections that we're going to need to make from the engine bay here, because there's a lot of pipes here going absolutely nowhere, but we've got the same here. We're going to be joining all those together. So I will try and take my time so you can see how this is. The other thing that I've done for now is all of the cables I had going towards the front. For now, I've just put them at the back because they're going to get in the way while I sort this out. Now, when I connect these pipes, I am going to use glue because these are going to come out if I don't, I believe. Okay, so this firewall here is actually going to be going over here. So the steering shaft that we've got here is going to be going into the gap. So this is going to sit kind of like that. Now, what I want to do is just make sure I've got no wires or pipes trapped under here because all of these are going to be connecting up. Okay, now this section here, I haven't plugged in yet. This actually goes onto here. But before I do that, what I need to do is bring this firewall quite close because I need to put this wire here onto this nipple just there. This is going to be a little bit tricky. So I have zoomed up quite close. So basically it's this cable here is going into the back of this silver unit just here. I can then put this in place on the front and push that in. Okay, the second blue lead that's coming from the back, this one just here, is going to be going onto the silver plug just there. And there you go. That's that one on. Now this thick orange wire that we got here is going to be going into this black little connector just there. Now I've got this thick black wire here from the bottom. That's going to go onto the firewall, onto the lug that you might be able to see just here. There you go. That's that one on. Now these 2 orange tubes that I've got just here, that's going into the pins that I've got again on the firewall. Hard to see, but they're just down here. Now these 2 blue tubes here, these are just going to be going over the top for a second and round the side. So for now, I'll just keep them out the way. Okay, this big thick lead here, which is the accelerator cable. It's going to go through the hole in the firewall. It's the bigger of the holes. So as you can see, hopefully, this pulls through there. So that's coming out into the engine bay there. And I also have this intake sensor hose, which I'll put through the hole in the firewall. As you can see, that one comes out there as well. So just to reiterate, this cable here is coming from this little hook section just there. Excellent. So we've got the brake booster vacuum hose, which is coming from this silver servo here. This is actually going to be going right over the other side here. Get this through. I need to go underneath all of these cables. And underneath this silver box here, we do have a silver plug for this to go into. in the picture it's showing a silver and black plug, but I can't see any black on mine. Now obviously I'm using glue because I know these will just fall out if I don't put them in somewhere. Now the cable that's coming out of this expansion box here, this orange cable here, that's going to be going into the spare socket we can see on this silver point just there. Now the blue cable we've got that's underneath this reservoir is going to go into the socket that we've got just onto the side here, and it's the top socket it's going into. There's two nipples on the side of this silver section here. So that's pushed into place. Now we've got this big blue wire over here. That's going to go through the hole in the firewall again. So that comes out this side here. Okay, we've got a couple of black wires here, which are going to go underneath the reservoir. And again, I will put some glue on these. This black wire here that comes out of that point there is actually going to go into the silver side just here. This section, so it's black in that side, coming out orange. The second cable that's coming into here is this long one from this side. Just bring that round, get that into place. God, there's a few wires, isn't there? Okay, I have to say, the only things I can't find a home for at the moment is I've got this black wire here, which doesn't seem to have a place to go. I'm not sure where that wire there is meant to go. I think everything else has got a plug in. There's something that's meant to go here, I think. I've got nothing connected to that either. Just looking around to see if I have got any spare parts. I haven't got any other cables to connect, so I don't know what goes into there either. But there you go. That's in place. I need some BM screws now because I'm about to push this into place. Now the BM screws actually came in a previous stage. So the first thing I'm going to do is connect up this edge just here. I'll be doing the same at the other side here. And then one more BM screw, which is going to be really hard to show you, but it's actually down here. So I'll get my screwdriver all the way down so I can get that in. It's only one on this side, there isn't one on the other side over here. But as you can see, that's all in. Now what I'm going to do is just tidy these wires up a little bit, just so it kind of sits better in there. But that was really difficult. I took my time on that. In fact, that actually took, looking at the time here, 40 minutes to lay that out exactly like it is in the instructions. And I said, the only thing I can't find a place for is this black lead just here, coming from this silver box. Not sure where that goes. So we're just going to turn our attention to this part here. I need to remove a screw here, which is the CP screw. I always get nervous when we fit it apart, but then they want us to take it out. Because what I've got to do now is actually remove the coolant reservoir as well, here. Which I believe just pulls up, as you can see. That's those two parts out. And these two pipes which got coming out here, I want the longer one. There's a long one and there's a short one here. Now the short one is what's going to go to this reservoir, which I'm going to need to put back in once I've actually plugged this in. It's going to fit on just like this, as you can see. Now the longer one is actually going to be going underneath, trying to get it as tight as I possibly can, because I'm going to need as much excess as I possibly can. Put this reservoir back into place over the top. Obviously the whole point of doing that is so I can feed this pipe around here. And then I'm going to secure this back into position and get that back in place. Perfect. That was really hard. Okay, I think that's the hard stuff for this stage to be done. What I need to do now is take the lower radiator pipe, which looks like this. I'm going to be turning this upside down, being very gentle with this. And this is going to be sitting on the 2 points that you can see just there and there. It's held in with IM screws. Make sure it's round the right way. So this tab here is pointing towards the engine. Okay, that's that in. Now we're going to start building the radiator here. And we do have a engine compartment LED, which is wire D. Now I've got my mess of wires here. Wire D, I believe, is this one. It is. Put that to one side. And this is actually going to go into this point just here, like that. I'm going to hold this in place with a little insulating here, so that can't move. Put the top over this, so this is actually going to be going on like this. Make sure it's clipped in all the way around, so the cable's coming out here and this light is coming out the top here. Then I can turn this over, and on this side I've got this front to put on. That's going to go in here, and again I'm pushing this into the clips into place. So that is how radiator's looking at the moment. Then I've got this radiator mount to put on. So the light's coming out the bottom there. This is going to be going on top that way with these tabs facing towards me, not the right inside. Held in with AP screws, got them here. On the other side here with the light, I've got this silver detail to put on. And again, I want this to go on this way. So the light comes out through the gap here. And if I push it down onto these lugs, we've got this tab here facing towards the back. So that's now how that looks. A couple of details to put into the side. And I am going to use some glue for this. On this edge just here, I've got this little detail, which has got a D-shaped pattern on it. I've got the radiator cap, which goes into the top. And then I've got a little pipe just going into the hole here, which looks like this. And it has got a D-shaped pattern again, but that fits in just like that there. And with that in place, we do have this part left over as well, but that's all there is to do in that stage. That stage took me almost an hour. Wow. So stage 58, here is the magazine, looking just like this. Now we've just been working on the radiator, so as you can see, we've now got a few more parts for the radiator here. Nowhere near as much to do as there was in stage 57, but we're all putting this together just like this. So let's just bring over those radiator pieces and stage 58. And having this radiator this way round, we're going to be putting this cowl on first, which is actually just going to go over the top like that. It's going to line up with the holes that we've got underneath it, and they're held in with CP screws. I think this time I can go back to my electric screwdriver here. Okay, we've got a couple of these little tiny details here which are going to be going into place on the black cowl itself. And I am wondering now if we should have installed these before we actually attached it. The instructions don't tell us to do that. But I guarantee it would have probably made your life a little bit easier putting those in. So we've got one there. And then this one here is actually going to be pinning this light into position. So the light's going to be going off in this direction. And this is going to fit over the top of it. So let me get this in so I can give you an idea of how this looks. Now I had to cut away then because it doesn't really tell you how much of the LED you should have actually left through. I ended up having to take this apart to just put it for a little bit more because this actually links between these two sections here. But that will going to light up, absolutely lovely to light up the front of the radiator. Nice. Now we've got some mount points going on the radiator, and again these are going off in this direction towards the writing. And if I just put one in, you can see there's an indent on this that needs to face towards the outside. Once again, another one of my pet hates, which is they want me to remove the horn, which just pulls out like that. which is going to enable me to put the radiator into position here. Now, I'm not sure what's happening with the wire at the moment. I've got the wire coming out the top. I think that's right at the moment. So I think I've got that into position where it needs to be. I'm going to turn this upside down now. Once again, I'm going to be putting this in with CP screws. And it's going to be going into these outer screw holes here. And it's screwed in 3 places. There you go, that's the radiator in. Let's turn this back over. And remember we had this blue lead out here? I'm going to be putting that into the side. Just into the side there. Nice. Okay, now that's in, we want to put this front cover in. We want it so this is facing outwards and these are facing down. So this is actually just going to go into the lugs at the bottom. And just push that down into place. That should fit quite flush in there. Hopefully you can see that. And then we're going to be turning this upside down again. I'm going to put this black pipe in first. I'm going to put it underneath this anti-roll bar here and plug it in this side, just into the bottom of the radiator. Hopefully you can see that. So if I need to turn that round in a second, I will. I'll connect that from the other side in a second. Turn this over. Yeah, now I can see where it's going. It's hard for you to see it here, but it's come out here. It actually just goes onto a black lug just in here. Perfect. Then I've got this silver plug to put in. Now there is a black lug for this to fit onto just underneath this filter here. So I'm just going to push that into position. Very hard to show you this. But that's on there. And then this side's going to go into the radiator. Just like that. All that's left to do then is take the horn that we took out. I'm going to be putting that back in. Make sure I put it in the right way. Perfect. Okay, once we've done that, there's one other thing. I was left with some screws here. I couldn't figure out where they go. These are KP screws, and these are just holding the top of this radiator grill into place. And we need 2 screws here. So once I put this last one in, that is all there is to do in that stage. So, stage 59 is the instructions. Looking just like this. And we are doing the intercooler, putting this together, and we do get to mount this in the car as well. So here we go. Stage 59. Let's get this open. Okay, so this intercooler, we're going to need these 2 parts first. The one that says GReddy is actually going to be going on this side here. It should fit quite flush in there like that. I'm going to be turning this over and screwing this in with TP screws. We've got 4 of these. These are just going into the 4 holes here. This is definitely one of these builds which has got loads to do in it. Then I've got the left, is this like a shielding bracket or something? We're going to be putting these into position. So one on this side, and all they do is push in. So they're looking like that. Do the same on this side over here, which is the right side. Nice. And then we've got this center part that we're going to be putting in now, which has got a certain way round it goes. It won't let you put it in the other way, and we're just going to clip that into position there. Nice. Now, a couple of brackets to put on. Now, the long side of the bracket's going to be going on this way, and it's going to go off in that sort of orientation, as you can see. Held in with these CP screws. So I'll get both of these in. Bring the car over and turn this upside down again. And this is going to be going into the position on the bottom, mounting just here. Now these need to sit below the radiator frame here, so we do just have to turn them a little bit just to get them in there. Now I'm just loosening these up just a touch because these actually sit below this radiator frame. So to get them over there, we do need to just rotate them round so they can fit in just like that. Now we'll tighten them up in a minute, but we need to put CP screws in through the top to get these in. Something I'm probably not going to be able to film, but let's get them in over here. There you go. That's going in fine. A bit tricky, but make sure they're lined up first, and I don't think you'll have a problem. That's the second one just going in there. And then what I'll do, turn it over, and I'll just re-tighten the ones on this side. Excellent. With that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. Okay, stage 60. Here is the instructions. And we have now got some more parts of the intercooler, some hoses here that we're putting together, looking just like this. Wow, lots to do, lots of pipes. Excellent. Things do get easier after this one, you'll be pleased to know. I don't even want to think about what the recording time for this is at the moment. I'll let you into a little secret. I actually filmed stage 57 the day before and then took a break. Okay, first chrome pipe I need looks like this, and I've got to put a sensor in here. This is what the sensor looks like. It is a D-shaped pattern, so I'm just going to push that in, and it is a tight fit, but in it is. Bring the car over, and this is going to be going, hopefully you see it on the top camera, into the silver part we've just got here. Now, it is a D-shaped pattern, so I'm just trying to figure out what orientation this needs to go. There you go. It goes in just like that. Now, as you see, this is coming out of the wall here because we're going to actually have a pipe coming out of here now. So I'm going to need this one first, which is going to go on the end. And as you can see, that's connected those pipes, and this is going down this direction. So it's sort of running down the side like that. Okay. Then I've got this blue pipe here, which is going to connect the two parts that we've got just at the bottom here. So I'll put one side in here first, and then just connect this other side up here. Excellent. So now that pipe's going all the way from there, down here, down there, into the intercooler. Lovely. Now this lead from the reservoir, I haven't plugged that into the cap yet, so I'm going to put that in there, just like this, because I've now got this blue lead I'm going to put in, which actually goes on top of this, and it goes down through the engine. So let's get this in. Perfect. There you go. That's in just there like that. And we want to bring this out through the bottom because we can see it there. Look, there it is, just there. This side's going to be going into that blue section there. This side's going to go into the side of the intercooler. You know, I have got that in there, but I think it probably would have been easier to actually connect that first and then put it through. Let me just put this back on here. Excellent. Confirm that we're still in on the other side here, which we are. There you go. That's in place. I just get so fed up with builds that want us to take things out we've already put in. Right, we're going to take this NOS bracket out now. Just comes out like that. And I'm attaching some blue wires to the bottom here. That was really hard, but there we go. That's back into place there. This then goes into this junction box here. So one side in here. And the other side in here. And then this junction box goes into the side of this blue tube that we've got here. And then we can put this back into position on this strut mount here. And there you go. That's in place. Wow. So we've got this vacuum hose now looking like that. That's going to go into the bigger of the lugs just on this filter here. I'm guessing that's a filter. And the other side is sort of like, oh God, it's going round the back and it's plugging in into a lug that I've got just underneath this section just here. Well, that's on. I'm sure this is probably meant to go round the back or underneath here or something, but I don't know how you'd get that through there, but I've connected that to this and this. All I'm doing then is putting the strut mounts in. So this is the right hand side one. So this one's going to be going in here just like that. It's held in with IM screws. Do the same on the other side. This one's going to be a little bit more tricky because obviously we've got loads of things in the way here. But there you go. That's into position there. Then I'm going to put this brace over the top of both of these, going in this way. It's going to pull that engine right down there, but they're held in with these big FP screws. So I'll get one in this side. Sure that screws into both sides there. And then do the same on the other side. And there you go. That's in place. That's all there is to do in that stage. Bit confused. They sent us these, but I don't know why. Okay, the penultimate stage of this marathon session that we're doing here, I believe has the pedals by the look of what's in the pack. And we've got the front floor of the passenger compartment. Wow. We're putting this into place like that. So this is a big old pack, which looks just like this. Now, let me have a quick look at this because we are completely changing what we were working on here. And obviously we've got these carpet sections here that I'm guessing they want us to put in. They've laid them in for us there, but I do have some carpets from Mike Lane here. Let's have a look at these. So these are the front carpets for the Toyota Supra, as you can see, and a colour-coded, what are these called? Smodgers? I don't know what these are called. And these are very similar to these, but these are quite thin. The stock ones are quite thin. These are thick, a higher quality, and can you see that when I stroke these, you can see the suede quality of these. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to be using Mike Lane's ones. There is length differences as well. These will go right up to the back on Mike Lane's ones, as you can see, rather than just in that position. So I'm going to be a carpet layer again now and get these into position. As you can see, that's gone in absolutely perfectly. Okay, let's do the other side. Again, I'm not using the stock ones, I'm using Mike Lane's ones. I have put a link down the bottom there if you want to get these for yourself. Everything here just fits beautifully. Look at those carpets. Excellent. Then got these side pieces here. Excellent. Do the one on the other side. Then just use this to cut this in. So we've got a nice sharp edge down the bottom here. Perfect. I've got some carpets for this back bit which don't come with this build. So this is addition now. There you go, that's lined up absolutely beautifully. Fold this down. Nice. Okay, we've got the sides here that are going in that look like this. Again, just cut that in down there. Nice. Do the same on the other side. Now the last two that I've got left in here actually get used in stage 62, so I'm just going to keep them safe for a second, but that is what that's looking like. Nice, huh? Okay. And talking about the last pack, I've got stage 62 here. Let's see what we're doing. I think this is part of the pedals. But we have got Yep, those two bits which we're about to carpet and some pedals. Looking just like this. I've already put these in with what Mike Lane's provided, so I won't be using these ones. That's how it's looking. So just looking at the time at the moment, this is over an hour I've been working on this stage. So with what I've done before, this has taken almost 2.5 hours. That's crazy. Right, I don't need these because I've already done that. But I am going to be putting Mike Lane's parts just on this section. So it's got these carpets here. These are the Mike Lane provided ones, which I'm just going to be putting on the outside here. They're following pretty much the shape of these panels. This is the right panel I'm doing at the moment. So that's in like that. Do the same on the left panel. Again, if you're just doing the stock build, then you won't have this to do. There you go. That's both of those in place. Bring over this floor pan. And the first thing we're going to do, D-shaped pattern, is put the pedal in here. That just sits in like that. Then I've got this for all the other pedals I'm going to be putting in. So the bigger one is going on the far side here. And then I've got these two here. So I'm guessing that's how that should look. I'm hoping that's right. I'm going to be putting this into place with an AP screw. So this is actually just going to be going on the top here. Get yourself the AP screw and I'll screw this into place. There you go. So that's the pedals in place there. And then we're just going to be putting these sides in. So these actually just go into the indents here. They kind of slide in. Very clever way of doing it. So that's one that side. And we slide this one in on this side here too. That's excellent. I love how that looks. The carpets on there. And we're holding them in place with CP screws from the other side. We're going to need 2 for each one. And because of how tight that went in, this isn't coming out. And there you go. That is all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. Boy, there was a lot going on in that issue, wasn't there? Look at that engine. I don't think we touched that now. But there is a lot going on in the engine as well. That was a stage and a half. Now, as I said, I've got probably 4 more packs here to do, so I will try and catch up with this. But I really hope you like that marathon build. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.